Hey y'all, we are on our way. We're headed to the Commonwealth cabin because we have some sales today. And I wanted to read a comment from a viewer, Western Kentucky Thrifter. He says, been hearing that some sellers are getting invites to talk to higher ups at eBay, but also having them sign non-disclosure agreements and helping them out if they stop talking bad about eBay. I hope you're not one of them. Love the videos, and you and your family don't give in to them. So this is, I think, in reaction to a couple of things in an article on a particular website, and I want to address that and a few other things. I want to show you what's sold as well today. Let's go take a look. As many of you know, I did have an opportunity to talk to eBay. I said I was going to make a video about that conversation and who I spoke to and what the conversation was about. At this point, after I've got all these messages through emails, through comments on videos, through comments on other people's videos, comments on all kinds of different platforms, as well as Instagram and direct messages on Facebook, I'm kind of wishing I did that video a little sooner than I've done. So far I haven't recorded it, but I'm going to soon. Because the information, boy, when you can't actually give it yourself, sometimes has some intended and unintended consequences. And I want to talk about that today and answer some of y'all's questions, like with a blanket statement as opposed to doing it individually. These are Game Boy Color Pokemon giveaways from Burger King, and they have some things inside as well. And we are in the pure profit at this point, $24.95 plus shipping. Now, I talked about this just a little tiny bit on the Trash to Cash podcast the other day, but I wasn't quite prepared to because I like to check all my boxes before I open my mouth, or at least check the ones I think I can check. So this is, I don't even know if this is the right one. I think it is. Hold on one second. Nope, that is not the right Pumbaa. I gotta find the right one. There, I found it in the alternative plush bin. There you go. That's the right one, and it sold for $10.50 plus shipping. And this one, thank you, Deborah, is going out to a viewer. Hello, I have been binge watching your content, and you make my heart smile. And then she went on to say two nice things that I can't repeat. So you have a beautiful family as well. God bless you. So Deborah, thank you. $10 plus shipping, $10.50 plus shipping on that one. I remember I bought this one at a particular sale, and it was a fun one, so I appreciate it. Now I'm going to read that article after just a couple more sales here, but at least in my case, and I think this was disseminated in two different locations, but, well, one location, but spread to others. In my case, at least, this information is largely inaccurate. Like I said before, I can handle quite a bit of criticism if it's fair criticism, but I'd like to correct the record when it's just simply not fair criticism, at least not in my case. So I gotta find the right one here. This is a Cleveland Family Guy figure. Okay, I had to move a few things, but I finally found Cleveland. And that one right there, I believe sold for $30 plus shipping. So that's not a bad one right there. We're getting, slowly but surely, we're moving through that bin. And the article was on e-commerce bites, written by, I think this particular one's Ina Steiner. I think she does most of them, who you may or may not know who she is. She was at the center of the, this will be an understatement, unacceptable, abusive actions by certain folks in eBay a while back. And like I said, that is an understatement. So, Nintendo 64 bag, and it is in terrific condition. I mean, this should come right off right there. I didn't even see that when I listed it, but this thing is in great shape, and so we put it out there. And I think I put it at $100 best offer, and then lowered it a little bit. I think we got $75 plus shipping for this, and I picked this up along with all the other Game Boy stuff down in South Carolina, and it was just an awesome, or no, South Carolina? No, North Carolina. It's an awesome little pick, and we did pretty darn good on it. So I noticed not long after that, some comments started coming in, but I didn't know where they were coming from exactly. And then Josh Galt over here sent me a message, and I don't know, I'm not speaking for him at all, but he contacted me about it as well. And then I started to realize where some of this stuff was coming from, and I went to look at this particular article. So let me just say this before I start. You know, this is not a criticism necessarily of e-commerce bites. I realize all the history and all the stuff that goes behind it. I'm not out here to make enemies, But I do prefer, if people are going to criticize me, or maybe this isn't a criticism of me, maybe this is more of a criticism of eBay, and I get that as well. But when people say things, whether it's on YouTube or whatever, you know, if you want to say that idiot sells, you know, $8 Tupperware lids, that's fine. Use my name. I'm perfectly okay with it. I try to own up to everything I do right and what I do wrong. But when there's articles like this that are vague about the personalities involved, and there's probably reasons why they don't mention it, then it comes back and you begin to have, you know, innuendo, and you begin to have all kinds of things that just simply aren't accurate being attributed to me. Now, I have to pick some more orders, so we might revisit this in a few minutes, but we'll hit on a few hot topics here at the beginning here. First of all, the article has puppet hands here. Maybe I'll put it up on the screen for you, which is probably what I'm titling this here. And it says, eBay appears to be turning to an old playbook that in effect muzzles sellers critical of the company. So this video isn't really a response to the author of this or to the website or anything like that. That's not the intention at all. It's a response to the multitude of messages I've got, like the one I read at the beginning of this video. It's a response to you for clarity's sake. So some YouTube influencers, this is the article, who have been vocal in recent months about the challenges they face selling on eBay, reported that company executives have started reaching out to them, wanting to open a dialogue. So if this is referring to me, and I say if because I don't know the intentions, but it sure seems like it, because we're talking plural here, and I'm only aware of 2 at this point. I think there'll be many more. And a couple videos from now, I'm going to talk about that whole process, the whole interview, the whole, I don't know what you want to call it, conversation that I had and who I had it with and what was discussed. So here's the next part of this, where if this is about me, it certainly it starts to fall apart a little bit for me. However, eBay told them they must sign non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, before they'll talk with them. Something eBay has done in the past when doing outreach to sellers in challenging times. I have no doubt that eBay's done that in the past. I've heard from people where eBay has done that in the past. I highly suspect eBay is still doing that in certain situations, and it is their prerogative. However, that's not what happened to me. I did not sign an NDA at all. I was not asked to sign an NDA at all. I think what I'll do is pick an item and get back to the story, and then pick an item and get back to the story so I can get this stuff done here. Got to go out and celebrate Turner's birthday here tonight. So this is a Duro decal. We don't sell them for much, but we have hundreds of them. Shout out Lori. Uncle Mark's garage sale last year. 930A, Jack and Jill. And I had a conversation with the person who bought this for quite a while. They wanted to know the exact dimensions because they're putting it on an old chair that I believe had this exact same decal on it. And it was just in rough shape, so they wanted to get a measurement on it. So it's only $8 plus shipping, but that's the kind of sale that just makes me happy. As all of you know, I am a YouTuber, right? So as you know, on YouTube, titles and thumbnails oftentimes lead you to think one thing, and the story or the content gets you to think a different way. But I just want to remind you here that the titles, eBay seduces YouTube critics with special access. eBay appears, which is, I don't know about seduces, that's one of those words. You know, I taught AP World History, right? And when you teach AP World History, if any of you have taken AP World, and this is back in the days when it was the history of the entire world, the course was largely about discovering bias and viewing history from different viewpoints in order to come to your own worldview. So, at any rate, and underneath it, it said eBay appears to be turning to an old playbook. Appears to be turning to an old playbook that in effect muzzles sellers critical of the company. So when I read that as an old AP history teacher, there's 3 words that stand out to me: seduces and muzzles. Those are not exactly terms that are used lightly. We don't use those terms too often. The other word here is appears. So they're not making a statement of absolute fact, which I appreciate that word. All right, so I had to dig out some Gertie earrings. I like it when the earrings sell. They don't sell for much, but $5.25 plus shipping on that one. So the article goes on. Now they start to hearken back to, and this person obviously has experience to some degree with it, of course. It goes back to what eBay was doing. Remember, it says they're going to an old playbook here. So a lot of it has to do with what's gone on in the past, but it's making an inference, in my opinion, to say, hey, this may be what they're doing again. So outreach programs to control messaging are not a new strategy for eBay. Former CEO Meg Whitman created eBay Voices of the community in the company's early days. Participants had the ear of eBay, and they would periodically fly to San Jose on the company's dime to hear directly from executives. Human nature being what it is, and possibly with the encouragement of executives, Voices members made sure to write positively about the company on eBay discussion boards, but without disclosing they were members of the Voices because the NDAs they had signed. When Voices members encountered problems, they reached out to their eBay contacts who would help resolve those issues. Had to go inside again. Another small dollar sale. It's just, my wife can't take anything of the Goodwill. She's got to squeeze every penny out of it, This is one of the kids' old shirts. Jacobs, I think, in size large, sold for $7 plus shipping. The article then goes on to discuss the current mentor program, and it seems to me that the issue here is that mentors don't have badges on their profiles when they appear on the message boards. I may have messed that up, so my apologies if I did. Some years after eBay launched Voices, large power sellers joined together to form a trade organization to try to affect change for all eBay sellers. Reporters from the mainstream press would turn to the trade group when reporting on the company, believing them to be unbiased. So first of all, let me just say this. Here's the reality here. There is nobody who is unbiased. There are people who are less biased than others, but I'll just be honest with you. I have a bias towards eBay being successful. That's my main motivation here. I want eBay to succeed. I want eBay to mend the relationship with resellers where they have broken it. And I want things to work together in a much better way that is better for eBay. Because if it's better for eBay, my business does better. And that's the whole point. I'll talk about this in a few days. That is my true bias. My bias is towards eBay, but it's not for a lot of these that are alluded to in this. And I'm going to actually talk about them specifically here in a second. But the idea that anybody's unbiased for any reason, whether they have perks or no perks or whatever, everybody to some degree works in their own best interest. All of us do. We're all out here hustling. That's just the fact of the matter. All right, I picked up a Betty Crocker cookbook not too long ago. I picked it up on the 301 sale, and this I think is the second viewer sale of the day. And it sold for $18 plus shipping, went to Penny. Thank you for picking this cookbook up. I recently watched a video where you and ADH Dave moved one out of the way on a table and continued looking. I think I was with him when I picked that one up. I think I went back and picked it up. I need that. I've been looking for years trying to replace the one that I had, and someone threw it out because the cover was missing. Jeez. I've been watching and learning a lot the last couple of years, storing up all this information for when we purchase our new house and I open my eBay store. Thank you for still being a teacher. So I appreciate that. I'm glad we could get it to you. Not all Betty Crocker cookbooks are worth money, though, so you got to be careful which ones you grab, so thank you. And the next statement here in this article, it says eBay gave that relatively small, tiny group, of sellers access to executives who would help resolve their problems, not necessarily addressing the needs of all sellers, and potentially corrupting influence on the group's original mission. So I get it, right? I was in the teaching world for a long time, the education world, and whenever the school system wanted to enact an initiative or do something different, they would always have these they would always have these like community meetings and teacher meetings where everybody got to put their input and nothing really ever changed, right? It's just kind of a blanket thing to make people feel like they're part of the system. And I get that. I totally get this 100%. Matter of fact, it's this way of thinking that led me initially to quite a bit of skepticism in the initial phone call, or whatever you want to call it. It was actually a video chat like they described earlier in this article. That was the healthy skepticism I went into the discussion with them about. Eagle shirts continue to sell. No surprise there. This is a woman's shirt that I've knocked off of its hanger. They don't go for a lot of money, but like I said, we got them for free. These are, this one sold for $16. Free shipping, so a little bit of profit. The article goes on to discuss this. Well, they've already discussed the carrot. Then they go on to discuss the stick, right? And the punitive action, which obviously, like I said before, this person has firsthand experience with. So I'm just going to say this before I continue. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of all the issues of the past. I know some of them. And I'm not speaking for anybody out there but for myself. I'm not speaking for eBay. I'm not speaking for any dissenting voices, any positive voices. I'm just speaking for myself. So members of the current management team, including the CEO, were previously at eBay when programs like Voices existed and know how effective the practice is, providing a small group of vocal influential sellers information received under non-disclosure agreements. Again, that might, apply to me in some respects, but not the NDA, effectively muzzling them from writing critically about eBay, and at the same time giving them a competitive edge. That may or may not be true. It is not true with me. I sold a couple of more of these LU coins, if I can find them. I think they're in one of these drawers. Yep, there they are. And these are selling, I think we have one left, $8.95 plus shipping for these commemorative coins. Now the article goes on, discusses much more, but I want to read a couple more things here and then look at the comments. And this is where I had an issue because of the speculation of people because of what I said on the video the other day. If eBay wants to ask YouTube influencers to share their opinions and feedback, there's no reason to require them to sign an NDA. A non-disclosure agreement would only be an issue for eBay if it was giving information to the influencer. So I think that might be where the discrepancy is between me and maybe some other folks, but I want to make a couple of points here. First is the discussion that I had, I'm going to comment on in a few videos, and you'll see the nature of the discussion was not about solving my issues. I did that on purpose. I talked about it. I said this could be not a trap, but this is something that a lot of people they act in their own best interest. As far as I know, I didn't ask for one darn thing. Not one darn thing for me. The issue with the Harley jacket the other day and being taken down for 3 days, as far as I know, that is still on my account. I took this opportunity to talk about much bigger issues that impact people like me as opposed to things that have impacted me. And I'm just going to add this because I went in with a healthy skepticism. And I probably should save this for the video where I discuss it, but I'm going to say it right here. Not only was I not asked about my own particular issues and how they could solve them, there was no carrot here, at least in my case. I'm not saying there never is, but not in my case there wasn't. I was actually asked to provide them with viewer, not influencer, not friend, not YouTuber, viewer experiences that I have got from viewers and to connect them to those regular eBay resellers. That broke down quite a bit of my initial skepticism, and I still have a lot of healthy skepticism. But, I mean, what's the alternative here? Not have any dialogue, ignore it and complain about it, or try to find somewhere where eBay's best interests align with sellers' best interests and make some kind of improvement. That's my goal here. I don't know. Who the heck knows? Nothing may come of it. And if nothing comes of it, we're in the same spot that we were at months ago. If something comes of it, awesome. And I had a cross-listing sale, and it's something I love to sell. But before I shout out List Perfectly like I always do with cross-listing sales, I just want to make sure I'm not accused of having implicit bias, and we'll just have explicit bias right here. I get a kickback if you use code Commonwealth to get 30% off your first month if you ever sign up for List Perfectly. So there you go. Explicit as could be. And I love those folks over there. That sold for $12.87 plus shipping. And I'll continue to tell you that I love those people over there until there's a reason, if there ever is a reason, that I would change my mind. But let me tell you, there's a lot of folks out there. I turn down opportunities for sponsorships daily, multiple times a day. I take it seriously, and I will have some missteps, as I have had in the past, but it's never my intent, and I always intend to be as honest as possible whenever possible. And I appreciate so much support, even from my naysayers. That's perfectly fine. You know, I love free speech. It's important to have dissenting voices, even the ones that you don't agree with. And it's important for me to always look at all sides of it. And I think we should all assume that. We should all have skepticism. I mean, this site itself has ads all over it. Of course, we should be aware of these things. And I try to make people very aware every single time I have the opportunity. Third viewer sale of the day. Thank you all very much. And I've got some other things coming up here that I can't wait to show you, discuss. I've done some crazy things lately as far as, I think this is one of them with my store. And that's not it. I always struggle so bad to find this stuff. Where's the... Maybe that one's not in here. There it is. Right there. So we've got two of them that sold to a viewer, $10.49 plus shipping total. They say, hi Kevin, thanks for all the informative content. Learned a lot. Purchased item for my daughter. She's an ET fan. And it's Frozen Sunflowers, the name of the eBay store. Small store, and you've helped us more than words can say. Thank you. Well, that's... I'm not quite sure how, but I appreciate that. This isn't easy, but it's definitely entertaining. No doubt it is not easier, and in some ways it's getting harder. And I just would like to see some ways where we can find agreement on some things, you know. And I get this, right? You know, the sins of the father will be revisited on the son, right? There are some serious consequential missteps in eBay's past, and there may be in the future. They may be doing some right now, but, you know, at some point, we at least have to hope and think and work towards a better tomorrow. If we don't, where are we at? We don't go anywhere. You know, just talking about bias, you know, sometimes there's a bias completely against something that somebody tries to make an argument that's founded in reality. And if I were an eBay exec, I would be doing absolutely anything and everything to distance myself from, that's not the right one, from the mistakes of the past, and going overboard to do so, and being very cautious. That one sold, I think we sold two of those, actually. Make sure I get the right stuff. Just the regular generic NWO bandanas. And that's, I hope, that's what I'd be doing. So, these are going just for $10, free shipping, but like I said, we got a bunch, so I'm happy with it. So after reading my own comments over the last few days, and text messages, and emails, and DMs, and all that stuff, and getting what I can see is a picture of what people really think after they read that article from people who already support me being negative, I wanted to see the people that don't support me, how maybe don't even know who I am and what they're saying. And so I went to the comments section as, you know, what is it after you read that article do you get from it? And I mean, so getting paid to lie. Well, I'm not getting paid. I mean, if you look back at a lot of that, I don't know if I want to call it insinuation, but at least skepticism, I have never got a dime from eBay to say or do anything. Never. Now, I don't even necessarily think it's bad, depending on what you're doing and if you're saying something that's truthful or whatever. You know, I know some folks on YouTube have promoted eBay Open, and I have no doubt they've been paid for that. You know, that's one thing, right? But to distort the truth and get paid for it is another, and that's what people are taking from this article. I've never got a dime. I've never got anything that I'm aware of done to my account that is special. Ever. I've never had a plane ticket somewhere. I've never been invited to anything eBay. I never have been. Ever. Here's another comment. eBay is playing whack-a-mole with YouTube critics. It is naive of these influencers, or if these influencers think anything will change. Maybe so. It's not very naive, apparently, to think that something will change if nothing is ever talked about. Nothing's ever discussed. They will also be told about all the magical innovations. Probably also get a free in-depth store review. I was told about no magical innovations. I got no in-depth store review. I was not recommended to increase promoted listings. I don't recommend to increase promoted listings, although it may be an option for some of you. They will probably be offered credits for promoted listings or to try a new store display. None of that occurred. Absolutely none of that occurred. eBay only wants to silence the critics. That wasn't my case. They gave me a complete open forum to discuss whatever I wanted to discuss and to say whatever I wanted to say with no obvious stick or carrot involved. Now, that's my experience. And that's all I can speak for is my experience. Let's take a break from that for just a second. And I just received something in the mail from two people I absolutely adore who sent me something they knew I would like, which is the old school kind of sewn embroidered banners. I love it. I don't know if that's you getting rid of stuff you don't want to deal with, so let me do it. But you guys are awesome. Derek and Jasmine, you might know them from YouTube. Derek and Jasmine, they are amazing people. I just absolutely can't say enough about them. So take a minute and go check out ATL Flippers over there on YouTube. This will in no way benefit the rest of the sellers. A few influencers will be bought off and all of a sudden they only have wonderful things to say about eBay, or they disappear from YouTube. Okay, look, maybe. If I disappear from YouTube, then maybe this is 100% accurate. I'm still here. So there you go. That would be the stick approach, of course. And I'm telling you right now, you can call me a liar if you want. I'm not bought off. Period. Okay. Too many YouTubers criticizing eBay. Hopefully there will be some that refuse the invitation. Okay. And to sign the NDA. I mean, where does that get you, right? Okay, I can understand refusing the invitation if you have to sign an NDA. I get that to some degree. I think it depends on what you're discussing. But that's for an individual to decide if they want to do or not. I didn't do it. I was not asked to do it. But what will be the consequences of continued speaking out? Shadow banning, restrictions, or worse? eBay has shown very clearly in the past that they won't accept criticism. Well, that may be true. They accepted it from me. They accepted criticism from me. And I was fair about it, I think. I was even-handed about it. And I will continue to compliment them in areas I think they should be complimented and not disregard any skepticism, not disregard any criticism. I won't disregard it. I mean, that's pretty much what I've always done. So at any rate, thank you for letting me say that, just because I've been overwhelmed lately with a lot of incoming about this particular topic, and I just wanted to set the record straight on my end. Here's one more comment. I just thought this one was kind of funny. Do these two YouTubers, see, there you go. They never mentioned two in there. That's kind of my point, right? If you write something like this, it leads people to go one direction, even if your intention wasn't to do that. You know, I never got a phone call about this. It would have been pretty easy. Do these two YouTubers actually think eBay cares about them? I really don't. I think eBay cares about eBay. I mean, that's what I think. You know, I care about me. eBay cares about eBay. You care about you. I mean, that's just the facts of life here. In eBay's eyes, these YouTubers are nothing, all capitals, cockroaches that they can just step on. Okay. Maybe so. Maybe so. I wasn't treated like that. Little Turner's turning 10 years old. Oh my goodness. And he's got a joke for us, little Commonwealth comedy. What do you got?
All right. What do birthday cakes and baseball have in common?
What do birthday cakes and baseball have in common? I don't know.
They both need a good batter.
I love it, buddy. Happy birthday.
Bye.
Hey, y'all. I'm cutting this in earlier in the video, hopefully right after Turner. We'll see if I can get it there. I already did all the shipping, so there's still more to come in the video, but I forgot to give away the My Go2 tape that we mentioned the other day. Had to put Tacky in the comments below, and Tom Turpin with a bunch of numbers after it is the winner. Send me an email, commonwealthpicker@gmail.com. And don't forget, Joel's done so much. If you remember all those bubble wrap giveaways, and he's going to give away a ton more. He's going to give away a year's worth, a year's supply of bubble wrap. St. Jude charity auction. It's going to be a giveaway September 30th, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all can check that link below if you want to go over there. You get a free $15, all that stuff. You can also use code Commonwealth for 5% off your My Go2 Tape at American Bubble Boy. Those links are down there too. So thank you to Joel. I'm so excited about what's coming up that you're going to start to see September 30th. Hey y'all, I have a little bit of work to do out here today, although the majority of my work over the coming days, you'll see it on the next video, is going to be done in that shed. We're doing a complete overhaul of the store, complete. And it's quite an undertaking, but No Reagan today, no Blue Ridge Mama today, and they're doing stuff for Turner's birthday. So, although Reagan does have some stuff headed to the CommonwealthPicker.com store, new stuff. I think we're going to hold off till Reseller Rally. We'll talk about that. Don't forget September 30th, St. Jude auction at the Reseller Rally. I'd love to see y'all there. It's for a great cause. And also just want to say one more time, I'm just going to say it with no ambiguity whatsoever. I want eBay to succeed. I want Mercari to succeed. I want Poshmark and Etsy and whatnot. Every reselling platform, I want to be a good, healthy platform for resellers. That's the dog I have in this race. Resellers. And hopefully that will be the case. It'll never, ever, ever be perfect. None of the platforms will ever be perfect. But where we can hopefully find agreement, I want to be a part of it if I can. And if I can't, that's fine too. I don't really care. I just want to resell for the rest of my life. That's all I want. And I hope you're successful out there as well. Thank y'all for joining us, and I can't wait to see you next time.